Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Canadian Starships live stream tonight. It is Saturday night, so it is Canadian Starships live stream night. Excuse me for a moment there. Welcome to the chat, Ken. Hi, Ken. Welcome to the chat, Captain Shalmang. Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight. We're going to see who all gets into the chat, but first of all, let's get the housekeeping duties out of the way right off the bat. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Those are the important things. Can you see me? Can you hear me? The audio was probably bad there at the beginning. I am not sure, even though I cancel the audio on this thing here, it seems to come through anyway. But Ken says that he can hear me just fine, perfectly. Hopefully you can see me too. Can you see me? Hi. Hi there. Hi, I'm here. Hopefully you can see me. See me? Do a little jig. You can see me. Hopefully you can see me. Well, if you didn't say anything, I'm going to assume that you can see me as well as hear me. So, yeah, we're going to let people join in and see what happens. Your voice a little out of sync. My voice is a little out of sync? All right, well, give me a moment. Let me just switch to the desk cam here while I see if I can fix that for you. I will just bring in my camera again. Sometimes it just needs to be, reacquired. So let's see if that has helped. All right. If not, I can change a setting on my camera that I had adjusted. So let me know if this is better. I'm not sure that it's better on my screen, but is the sync better? Is the sync better now? All good now? Perfect. All right, that's all it needed. It just needed to bring the camera back in. Sometimes streaming software is kind of strange that way. Yeah, I'm seeing a huge delay on my streaming software. So, I mean, not on my streaming software, on the Stream Deck, the studio, the YouTube studio. But I refreshed, and it looks like that's all good. It's just good to get all of this stuff out of the way right off the top. I'm going to get into, let me see, I'm going to get into my overall chat so I don't miss anybody. So if you are here, if you're watching, let me know. Drop a note in the chat. Drop something in the chat so I know that you're here. I know sometimes it takes a little bit for people to know that you're streaming. And you know what? I have not put anything on the HTM Discord that I am streaming. So maybe I should do that. Let me grab the link and I'll just pop that up there in case it's helpful for anybody. Let me just grab my keyboard, grab the link, and let's see, I'll just throw that into general because it's there. If anyone wants to join me, I'm live streaming now on YouTube. And the link. There we go. All right. That's taken care of. And let's see. So, YouTube tells me that we've got 7 people watching. So, welcome everybody who is watching, and welcome Skull to the stream. Thank you for joining me this evening. We're just kind of waiting for everybody to kind of come on in before we get started too much. I don't have a lot of plans for what I want to do tonight, but there are some things I want to see about doing. I have brand new plans for the armature, going in a completely different direction now, kind of doing a hybrid between what Phil over at Sprueverse is doing with the big metal arm, and what Hogan Miller is doing with the telescopic metal arm. We'll see how that all goes. I'm not doing any of it tonight other than maybe doing some measurements and getting some prep work done, but I can show you the prep work I have done. My father has welding equipment in his woodworking shop, and so on Monday I'm going to travel to his shop where he's got those assets available, and we're going to weld up a better metal armature for this thing. So they were visiting me today. We did some initial measurements, some talk through, some thoughts, and we've got a plan. So we're going to see if we can execute that on Monday. But I do need to get measurements of the aft photon torpedo launcher for Keith over at Cosmic Scale Models. He's going to redo that, so we'll look at that tonight, and I'll see if I can get enough. I'll get some feedback from you guys as to making sure that I've taken enough measurements that Keith should be able to reproduce it from pictures of the studio model and the measurements that I sent him. So I'm going to be making sure that you guys are kind of my extra eyes and ears to make sure that I don't miss out on anything. Let's see who else is here. Todd is here. Hello, Todd. Welcome to the chat. Let's see. Oh, World of Wayne is here. Hello, Wayne. He says, check this out. It's 2 a.m. and made the live stream. Well, welcome to the live stream. 2 a.m. Yeah, it is tricky with the time zones. It is 9:07 p.m. Eastern time here, and this is the only time I can stream because I've got 2 little kids that have to go to bed, and sometimes they fight going to bed. So, and Todd says, welcome, Wayne. Why are you up so late? And, and Wayne says, can't sleep, fell asleep at 6 p.m. Well, if you can't sleep, you might as well join the stream and see what we're up to with the Enterprise D. And Skull says he's picking Ian up at the airport. Well, I guess Ian is going there fairly soon, right? So I think that they are planning to connect while he's over there. So welcome everybody to the stream. All right, Wayne, since you're here, you were mentioning about how you are on this weight loss journey. Well, two weeks ago, I stepped on the scales, and I was the heaviest I have ever been in my life. So I weighed in at about 191 pounds, which I'm 5'4". I'm not very tall, and for me, that's absolutely ridiculous. In my mind, it's absolutely ridiculous. So I went through and I evaluated what I eat, what are my snacky go-tos, what are my, when I need food quick, what are my go-tos. And I also realized that most of the food that I eat when I'm not eating well are carby foods. So I've pretty much cut all those out. And I'm making sure that I'm paying attention to what I'm eating and all that kind of stuff. So I'm keeping track because I need to lose about 50 pounds or so in order to be into the healthy range for my height. So here is my weekly progress. So since this time 2 weeks ago, I have now lost 7.5 pounds, which is 3.4 kilograms, or for the Brits in the in the stream, that's half a stone. So that's where I am right now. And the other weird thing, so I also have like bad acid reflux, and I've noticed that since I've cut out the carbs, it went down drastically. And now I was sick this week, and on Monday I made myself coffee, and I tried to drink my cup of coffee. I mean, I generally drink, maybe 1 or 2 pots of coffee a day, and I just couldn't. It was just like tearing my stomach apart. I just couldn't do it. So I literally have not had coffee since that few sips of a cup of coffee on Monday. And between cutting out all the carbs and cutting out the coffee, I've had no acid issues at all. And sometimes it'd be like really bad and giving me problems sleeping. So that's where I'm at. Let's see. Ken says he flew out today, referring to Ian. Todd says Ian should land in the UK in about an hour, so I'm sure we will hear about it. Yeah, I'm sure we will. Let's see. Wayne says, yeah, cut the carbs big time. Ken says, congratulations, Andrew. Thank you, Ken. Wayne says, wow, that's awesome going. Yeah, it feels good. Todd says, nice work, guys, on the weight. When I went low carb, I lost 80 pounds in 6 months. That's pretty crazy. I couldn't lose 80 pounds. I mean, if I lost 80 pounds, that would put me... 70 pounds would put me down to my pre-college weight, which I'm never getting down to. But I need to lose 50. 50 is what I need to do. And Captain Shellman says, recently saw an interesting take, what looked like a Discovery-style Excelsior. Funny how most Trek Starships original started as kit bashes or variants of originals. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff out there. Talking about Excelsior, Helios is putting out an Excelsior in 3 different sizes. And one of them is a 350, which I think would be fantastic. And it looks like they've done some things a lot better this time around than with the Helios D. But talking about Helios Ds, let's look at the Helios D and let's look at what I am doing with the armature. So here I am in the corner where I belong. No, I'm not yet. Here I am. Nope, there we go. Right, I re-added the camera so it wasn't on my hotkey. There we go. I am here. Hi, everybody. And this stuff is what we're looking at tonight to start off with. So, in a previous episode on Let's Build the Enterprise D, I was working on the armature, and I had put some square tube in, and I had cut it, and I had bent it, and I had soldered it so that it would come up somewhere around here. And my plan was to stick this in the hole I created in the base, epoxy it down like mad, backfill with resin, and hope that that would be good. I mean, there's been so much paranoia online recently with the armature for this kit between Phil and Lou and Hagen with his stuff. I've kind of just joined the paranoia track with the armature on this, and so I am kind of going back to the drawing board, and I am taking some thoughts from a bunch of different people. So I am going to probably take some steel square tube, much like Phil's arm, and replace this with that. Some differences. This is going to be connected differently. This is going to be welded on the angle here rather than kind of like a piece on top of another piece like what Phil has done. I am taking Hagen's idea. I'm going to split the post here, and so this will be let's work in freedom units here for a moment for the Americans on this stream. This is going to be 3/4 inch square steel pipe, I believe, and then I'm going to put 1/2 inch. I'm basically going to cut it and fill the section with 1/2 inch, so, not so that I can remove the saucer, because I think I am still going to make the saucer fully permanently attached. I think that's going to solve a world of headaches in making sure that all those panels and everything line up. But I think that being able to add the armature on the saucer to the armature on the secondary hull is just going to make the assembly process easier. So let's see. Captain Shalamang says, Andrew, you saying that just now scared my wallet since I cannot resist getting a kit of the Excelsior. How much would they charge for it? I have no idea. You'll have to contact them. You can contact them on their website. Just Google Helios Models and Lighting. You can find their email there, or you can go to Facebook, find them on Facebook and message them through there. It's Helios Models and Lighting, and I do believe they're taking orders for those right now. And I think that there's a smaller one, then there's a 650 scale, and there's a 350 scale. So I think there's 3 different scales for those, and they look, from what I've seen, they look really good. So if I had the cash on hand, I would probably be getting one of those. So that's where we're going to be looking at. Then where the arm goes into the saucer, I'm going to be adding arms stretching out from that armature either side, similar to what I did in the Don Shoko D, to provide some side support. Now mine are going to be secured to the top saucer so that everything hangs on the armature rather than trying to attach it to the bottom. So everything's going to rest and just hang there on top of the armature. So hopefully this is going to be more than enough. I honestly, I think it's overkill. I think it's overkill, but I don't want to risk anything happening with these models. I mean, one of them has to go across the pond to Poland. So Belgium. One of them has to go across the pond to Belgium. So I want to make sure that it has no issues with that journey and stays intact for that time. So that's Monday. I'm going to be heading to my dad's shop. We're going to be getting the materials necessary, and he is going to be hopefully he's going to be doing the welding work, and unfortunately sometimes fathers will be like, okay, you do it, you learn how to do it. So I'm kind of hoping that he's going to do that, but I'm kind of expecting that he's going to go, okay, your turn, you do it now. Which, I mean, those are skills that I need to learn and that type of thing, because it'll only serve me well as I build other models and build bigger models with bigger armatures and all that kind of stuff. So I understand. So that's where we are at with that, which means we will likely scrap these resin arms. As far as attaching that, now, we will not be attaching it directly to this metal plate, at least not on one of 2. Now I'm doing 2 of these. One is going to Belgium when it's done. One is going to Chilliwack, BC when it's done. And so they are 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. This is 1 of 2. And because this has already been permanently adhered to the model, to the resin block, it could be an issue if you were welding directly to this with the resin underneath. So we are going to cut a small plate that it will be welded to, and then that piece will be attached to this metal plate with tapping screws, something like that. So the other thing is, I'm not a metallurgist. I don't know these things. But my dad thinks that this might be, this might not work with the steel tube as far as welding it together. So we will get compatible materials for that, and then we will mechanically connect it to the other one, and that'll be super strong. So no worries there. That's how we're going to connect it. One of the tricky issues, as per always, will be simply figuring out where it gets connected to this, because getting the arm, like just getting this arm aligned properly was a bit of a pain, because you're kind of working blind. Once that secondary hull piece, top piece goes on, you're really working blind on it. Excuse me. Like I said, I've been sick this week, so I'm still dealing with some of the after effects of being sick. So yeah, getting that perfectly aligned where I want it to be, so it hits all the points it needs to hit and rests in the saucer where it needs to rest, is going to be a bit of a challenge, but hopefully we'll be able to get that all worked through. Hey Blair, welcome Blair. Hey guys, late to the party, briefly caught the tail end of large scale Excelsior. Is my wallet about to take another hit? If you want it to, it certainly can. Let me know, or let Helios know. I'd be happy to throw it on the list after these are done. If you want, there's a 650, which would put it in scale with this one, or you could go large with the 350. But Helios is taking orders now, so you could just do the exact same thing that you did before, and you'd get priority in line after all the other projects are done. So Blair, let me know in the chat, did you see what I just explained about the armature? Because you should probably hear that. Excuse me. I'm going to wait to see if Blair did hear what I was talking about with the armature. Captain Shalamang says, Blair, believe me, I know what you mean. I sent a message to them already to find out costs, just waiting to hear back. Yeah, it looks really, really well designed. It looks like they've solved a lot of the problems and issues that they had making this initial kit with this new Excelsior kit. You just got on. Okay, everybody, please bear with me while I explain again what's going on with the armature arm. I will give the cliff notes. So what I had been doing was I was putting a brass tube up here. It was cut, bent, soldered to give this in extra support. The plan was put this in, epoxy in place, backfill with resin, the whole thing. Hope that it secures it really well. There's a lot of paranoia about the armature for this, and so we are moving in a different direction. We are going to get 3/4 inch steel square pipe, and we're going to create a main support arm that goes in the same shape as the yellow stock that's on here. We were taking measurements and making sure that everything would fit properly, both within the secondary hull and onto the top section of the saucer properly. Then from there, we're going to have arms going out, metal arms going out from there to support the saucer on both sides. And then the top saucer is going to rest and kind of sit on top of that armature, and it should be super secure in the ship. I may cut the pipe that's along here and put a 1/2 inch pipe inside so that I can then work on the secondary hull and the saucer, get the armatures put together, aligned, and secured in place permanently. And then with that 1/2 inch pipe going inside the 3/4 inch pipe, I'll be able to then mate the two sides of the armature together. There has been talk about trying to keep the saucer separable from the secondary hull for transport and stuff like that, but I don't like the odds of that with the way panel lines align. I think those are going to need to be aligned and secured permanently for it to look right. But that should give some flexibility in the building phase with that, and that's going to happen Monday. I'm heading to my father's shop. He's got the welding equipment in his woodworking shop. We're going to get the steel pipe for that, and we are going to build the armature for that on Monday. So I'm hopefully going to be filming some content during that, and I should be able to put together a armature feature update on that within a few days after that. Now, don't quote me on that. Things happen. I've been sick, so I'm expecting sometime in the next week or two my kids are going to get sick. But that is the plan. So hopefully that'll make it nice, strong, and secure, and it will definitely survive the trip across the country. So hope that is going to work out really well. Hello, Dash. Welcome to the stream. Dash says, I DM'd them on the NX01 a while ago on Messenger and never heard back from them. They did see it. Would have liked a response, even if it was no. Try emailing them. Sometimes it is hard to get a response. They do get a volume of stuff, and I'm not sure how many people they've got going through that. So just be persistent, and you should be able to hear back from them. And Blair says, I like the approach, Andrew. Stronger is better. Yeah, there's just been so much paranoia about the structural integrity of this kit. I mean, we don't know, because nobody's built it before. So I think it might be overkill, but I'd rather go overkill on it and have it last the test of time than anything ever go wrong with it. So let's see. Captain Charlemagne says, on this Enterprise, will the phaser array be lighted like the other kit you have built on the channel? Yes. And I may be getting to working on some of that very soon. And Trey, welcome to the chat. Trey, welcome to the stream. Trey says, yes, the saucer phaser arrays are lit. Yes. So you will see here. This one is no longer currently masked on the phaser array. Let me go big on me for a moment. There we go. There's, let me get it into, I have to stand all the way back here for you to be able to get all on camera. So that's the top phaser array. And, oh, by the way, Blair, in case you didn't see it, let me go back here. In case you didn't see it, there's the bridge and conference room modules. And you can see the various enterprises on the wall there. And this is why I came up with the solar res glass, to give as clear of a look through there as possible to those pretty details going in there. So I'm really pleased with how those turned out. Those were painted by Donnie Daughtry, who's part of Hobbytown Modelers. I keep doing that, Hobbytime Modelers group, and he volunteered to do those for the challenge of it, and they turned out far better than if I had done it myself. I just don't have the experience painting those tiny details. I usually paint big ships. So yeah, you like that? And with the with my new solar res glass technique, you're going to be able to look in there and see that really well. And I've got an idea up my sleeves for the bridge dome as well, making use of the solar res glass technique and making a solar res glass dome. So hopefully it's a really nice optically clear dome that you can see into the bridge. So I'm going to be experimenting with that shortly. There is one item I need to get in order for that to happen, and I think we have some around here somewhere, and I just need to find them. So yeah. There we go. So that's hopefully what you're going to be seeing inside the conference room and inside the bridge. Blair says, Captain Charlemagne, you have a channel? Facebook? And Captain Charlemagne says, nice. Did you know use photos of the TNG bridge or what we saw in Picard? So I suggested to Donnie that he airs, because I mean it looks different depending on when in the show you're looking at it, because they were constantly redressing the set. I mean, they totally moved the bridge set from one stage to another between season 1 and 2 of the Next Generation. So there's lots of different looks. So I said let's air on the later Next Generation era if you're looking for a go-to. Because clearly it's not the Generations bridge, but it is the bridge that we all know and love. So yeah, that is. I mean, I've got lots of stuff that I need to put together for an update, and I've just been sick and have not had a chance. So lots of stuff coming. I'm also going to get the other metal plate cut out like this. We're probably going to do that Monday, since we're doing the armature and all that metal work on Monday too. So lots going on Monday. I'm dropping my son off at daycare, and I'm traveling an hour and a half to my parents' place to make use of his shop, his expertise, and his tools. So yeah, Also, Blair, this is going to be supported on a 1-inch copper pipe, which is going to be removable from the model, and hopefully it will also be removable from the base so that it'll make travel a whole lot easier with it. So that is the plan, and I am fully planning on however the base looks, however we decide to make that look. I'm fully planning on a really nice LCARS display for you, and the touch sensitive buttons for the various functions of the ship, like turning it on, going to warp, firing phasers. Maybe we even do Borg invasion mode if you want, you know? We could possibly do that. So we'll make sure that those are touch screen displays, and I will be approaching creating those LCARS panels in a very similar manner as the Okudas did when they were doing them for the show. So I'm not going to be doing the big, huge film stock, but I'm going to be doing many of the stages the same way that they did. So they should look quite authentic to what they were like on the show. But we'll need to talk about exactly how you want that to be. All right, so that is the plan for the armature. Any questions? Any questions, comments, concerns, issues you see arising, anything like that, please leave it down in the comments below, and because I will definitely take any feedback that you want to give me on this. Again, there is no tried and tested process for this model kit. We are all just figuring it out as we go because nobody has built this kit before. It is brand new. Nobody's done it. I'm doing it. Phil at Sprueverse is doing it on his channel. Lou Dalmaso is doing it on his channel. And we're all at various stages in various different areas of the ship. And I 100% expect that Lou and Phil are going to lap me on this because they're doing this full time. I'm not. So they've got a whole lot more time to pour into this every single day, every single week. So they're gonna leap ahead of me on this. I have no doubt. But make sure you follow everybody's builds because everybody's going to be doing it different. Now, Phil and Lou are going to be doing it fairly similarly because they are really in cahoots on this thing, working together. But I'm sure my builds are going to be completely different approach in many different areas than what theirs were. Although they've already taken a bunch of my ideas to put on their builds, which I think is really cool. All right, I'm going to put this stuff aside. I'm going to grab, let's see. I'm going to grab a top saucer. This is saucer 1 of 2. I need to put this aside. I can barely fit the whole saucer on my bench. Oh, and there's good old Canadian penny for scale. Now I'm going to get a roll of the LED strip and start to measure off how much LED strip I'm going to need to do the phaser array. Now on the smaller Don Shoko kit and on the 1400 scale Enterprise E kits, I am using the 2020 size LED strips. They're the really small ones, but this is a much larger kit, and I think that it will be well served with the standard 50-50 size. And I don't think one strip is going to cut it. But let's take a look, and my screen behind me is kicking in and out. Interesting. So we're going to size this up. Let's see. Captain Shalmang says something. He says here, aside from the armature, how much of the D is supported by a frame? As with her being so big, I would think the nacelles be something that need a good support to not sag over time. Yeah, there's not really a way to get much more support in there than the resin itself due to how thin those pylons are. Now, something that they've done on the Excelsior kit, it looks like they've done a metal 3D print for the pylon structure on that kit, which will give it so much more strength. But there's not going to be a ton of weight in the nacelles. I don't foresee it being an issue on that. I mean, they did a big 6-foot model, and their pylons are holding, so I don't have a I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue with that. Yeah, just do not expose it to extreme heat. So don't leave it in an attic. Don't leave it in a car in the summer, that kind of thing, and you should be okay. Hello, David. David says, hey, who is Hagen that you mentioned is also working on this? Thanks. Yeah, Hagen Miller. He popped onto the stream last week to say hello and show us what his armature structure looked like. He is also building one of these kits. And again, he's doing things a little bit differently than what I am and what Lou is and what Phil is. It's really cool to see that everybody approaches certain problems in different ways. He does not have a YouTube channel. We are trying to convince Hagen to get a YouTube channel because I think that he would do a really great job. He does some really good work. And I think that he would do well doing a YouTube channel. But you can find him in the various Star Trek model building Facebook groups, specifically Star Trek Modelers group, I think is what it's called. Let me just double check. Star Trek Modelers group on Facebook. He's one of the moderators there. He's the one that looks after the Ship of the Week competition thing that they do over there. So you can easily find him on Facebook. And since I'm on Facebook, I'm just going to take a quick pop over to my page and see if the stream is working well over there. And yes, it is working there well because I am streaming here on YouTube, over on Twitch, and on Facebook Live. So, yeah, it looks like it's all working properly over there. I don't expect to have anybody watching, but if they are watching and they leave a comment, it all comes into the one screen. So I'm not worried about it. All right. Let's see. Starting this here, I'm just going to work this around. I like to put the phaser strip on the outside of the phaser ring because you get the highest density of LEDs that way because they're all bending inwards and getting a little bit closer together. Talking about phaser arrays. Now, I haven't seen Lou's video from this week, but in his video from last week, he found a way to put the LED strips flat down on the curve. It's actually something that John over at Captain's Dry Dock had done with his 1400 scale D when he was building that one. And I'm going to leave a little mark here to show where this cuts off. And I'm going to pick it up here. I'm going to pick it up here because I'll have to cut the first one off the string to help me connect it properly. So we are looking at a full string plus, on camera counting, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So that's a full string minus 1 plus 22. There I think there's 144 on a roll. So what's that? 144 plus 22 is 166 minus 1, so 165-ish. So 165 LEDs in the array necessary for this, I believe. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the wires that are on here going into the strip. Likely keep those intact because it's a nice solid way to connect it in here. But I will be taking the data out at the other end and connecting it to the lower saucer phaser array, because this is all going to be done in a data chain, because that's how the addressable LEDs work, and all the effects need to be on, with the inner lighting system, need to be on 2 channels. And so I'm going to probably go from one phaser to the other. Something I need to do right away, essentially. So once I get the armature taken care of, I'm going to start working on the path through the model for the data channel to take. That's going to need to be planned out very carefully, because the data has to go from strip to strip to strip to strip. The exception will be the window lighting. I can split, so let's hypothetically say I have 8 LEDs designated for window lighting in a small strip, because I'll have several strips around the ship in strategic places to get the lighting all through the saucer. What I can do is I can split the data channel and send a fork of the data line to each of those individual sections, whether it's 8, 16, or whatever. That way only numbers 16 LEDs or 8 LEDs in the chain of LEDs is designated as window. And so it only the data only has to come out of one of those and go into the next set of lights, whatever that happens to be. So I may do that. I may fork the windows off, split them off, and do it that way. I've done that with the Arduino programming on the 1400 scale Enterprise E's, going to the nacelles, and it works really well. So as far as the Arduino is concerned on that, there's only one nacelle. And the data just splits off to the exact same set of LEDs in each nacelle. And so it thinks that it is just one set, and it works perfectly well. So that's a tried and tested true method. So I may do that just for ease of building on that. Okay, so that is 165 LEDs on the top. Let's take a look at the bottom. I know that this is going to be a smaller phaser strip on the bottom. I just have to go grab the bottom from the other side of the room. All right, here's the bottom part. It's also from kit 1 of 2. And it's a smaller phaser array on the bottom, so I'm curious how much this one is going to take. So again, let's start at the beginning and work its way around. Again, we're going to curve. Oh, just had something up on my screen there. We're going to curve this around the outside. Get the best density of the LEDs, so the effect is as smooth as possible. go. And you know what? This is only going to take one. And how many? Okay, we don't have 22 left on the end. I was kind of thinking, wouldn't it be perfect if there were 22 left over that we could just attach up to the upper one? But 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So 144 minus 11 is 133, right? 133? Because that would be 143 plus... Yeah, 133. 133 lower. Just marking that down. All right. The bottom one's going to be easy. Bottom one's going to be dirt easy because I can just chop this off and wire it up, and that'll be super easy. It's just the top one I'm going to have to add too. All right, we got a little bit more. Let's see. Ken says, Andrew, do you think Helios will do multiple releases of the 650 Excelsior with changes between each release? Would you recommend waiting for a later release? I have no idea. You would have to ask them. But it does look a lot better. Like, it looks a lot more thought through than what this one was. This one is going to be a lot of, elbow grease, blood, sweat, and tears, screaming, all that kind of stuff. But the Excelsior looks beautifully done. So I would not have any issues taking the first round kit on that. And honestly, the changes that they made between the first round and second round of the Enterprise D are fairly small. I mean, they got the dormer windows closed in better, but I just puttied these in. Not a big deal. Some trenching issues on the tail end of the secondary hull. Again, not too many issues. I'll trench that out myself and get that cleaned up. Yeah, I don't foresee really an issue needing to wait. Also, you never know if CBS Paramount's ever going to like bring down the hammer and say you can't do this anymore. So my thought is always jump at a kit when it's available if you've got the funds to do it. Because it's like shopping at Costco. You go to Costco one day and you see something and you're like, oh, that might be nice. I'll think about it. You come back the next time, gone, never coming back. These type of model kits are often that way. So my advice is always, if there's a kit you want, get it when you can, because soon you may not be able to get it. So let's see. Stamps, hello Stamps, welcome to the stream. Says a 650 Excalibur exclamation mark. I mean Excelsior exclamation mark. Yeah. Oh, and I think you can get it in either the Enterprise, the Excelsior, or the Enterprise B, but don't quote me on that. Trey says at Ken's Hobby Bench at 650. They would be best served making it with modular parts for the NX, NCC, the Enterprise B, Lakota, but who knows. Stamp says, would be cool. Campton Shalamang says, be interesting to see them release an Enterprise B to compare their kits to the 1537 resin kit. Yeah, I think they are doing, I think they're doing both. But again, don't quote me on that because I do not know for sure. But I would love to build the Excelsior in whatever size and try that kit out. Captain Shalming says, looked like between the NX version and the NCC 2000. Yeah, you'd have to look. You'd have to probably talk to them. I think there was talk about them doing both, but again, I don't know for sure. All right. So, we know how many LEDs are going to be in for this. Perfect. I did see Blair. Blair asks, "Is there a preview of it anywhere online?" And I did see it somewhere. Let me move the saucer out of the way. I mean, this kit is so big. I've got the main parts of it spread out all over the place here. Just because of space. The parts are just so big. Let me check. I did see it. It's likely on their Facebook. I think I may have shown it on here previously. Okay. I think this is it. Give me a moment. Okay. This is what they've got on their Facebook page. I don't think that there's any audio associated with this. So they're doing 650, 460, and 350. And then so you can see there's 650 Enterprise D. So the 650 Enterprise D that we're currently building. So there's your size. There's the parts. Oh, that's good. All the windows are pre-cut. That's a nice thing about the way that these things are printed. The cargo bay. Some nicely detailed parts there. I'm just looking to pull up the chat because I can't see chat now. I'll be with you in just a moment on the chat. There's a deflector dish. Here's the metal armature that they've designed. Now, Hagen was mentioning that he doesn't know if that's on the 650 or if it's just on the 350 scale. Sorry, working to try to get onto chat. The video is currently covering my main chat window. Yay, I've got chat back. So Captain Shalamang says that I saw anyway. Could try Google it, Blair. Blair says Unreal, take my money. And he also says found on Facebook. Captain Shalamang says agreed, Blair. Stamp says wow, 350 scale. Blair says email sent, see what they say. And I'll send them a note too, Blair, to make sure that they're keeping an eye out for your email. Stamp says, is that the 350 scale on screen? I am not sure. Oh, here's that metal, what looks like a metal printed pylon section. Very nice, very secure, very demure. Looks so good. Oh, let me clear that chat so you can see better. Showing off all of the various parts. This looks like it would be a joy to put together. I'm sure a lot of people would love to see a large scale kit like this built. And I like how the armature they've designed is all just like pieced together. So it's all structurally sound without being welded or anything like that, which is really cool. Ha! Stamp says, do I have to have tats like that to build it? Well, I'm completely tattoo free, so hopefully not. Yeah, that looks really nice. Oh, here we go with the saucer. Okay, so they've got a light diffusing part to go in for the planetary sensor. Very nice. Just shine a bunch of light into that clear part and it'll translate it all the way through. Look at that. Pins in place. Gotta love that. Blair says 350 scale. That's gotta be close to six foot. Yeah, I can do some calculations on that. So let's see. Yeah, look at how sturdy that is. So 511.25 meters long. The ship is supposed to be. Okay, let's see. So 511.25. Divide that by 6. Oh, by 350. By 350. And we get 1.46 meters. Now that's assuming their calculations were right when they did it. So 1.46. So you're looking at 4.79 feet. Or 57.5 inches long. So that's how big it should be based on my quick calculations there. Because the 650 Enterprise D is going to be about 3 feet long when it's all done. So that would make sense. That's about 4 3/4 feet long. Stamp says it looks like they did a great job making it. Yeah, it looks like it's been really well engineered. Looks like they've gone above and beyond what they did on the Enterprise D. Trey says, Lou's going to have a field day with this one. If he decides to get it, who knows? If the 650D hasn't thrown him off with it. That's about $600 is my guess. No, probably more. Probably more than that, Stamps. I can't remember what the D cost, but probably somewhere in that range, I would imagine. Look at the size of those nacelles. I mean, they're not huge nacelles within the context of the next generation era, but those are some nice hefty nacelles. And I really like how that's been metal printed, or at least that's what it looks like. It looks like it's been metal printed. And with the and you see the various the NX and the NCC versions here. So I don't know if they're going to ask you which one you want. There you go. There you go. All right. So that's what that's looking like. So would be probably a really nice kit to build. And of course, if I had my say, it would be the 350 scale. But honestly, any of those look like they'll be really, really good. All right. Let me get this closed off so I can see chat on my big screen, and I can put my tablet away now. All right. Let me get switched back to the bench view so you can see what's going on. Although, you want. Well, if you can get the kit, you know a guy who can do it for you. Oh. Here are... I was talking about these earlier. So, these are the 2020 LEDs, and beside the standard size 50/50 LEDs. So, these are the LEDs that are in the 1400 scale Enterprise E. They'll also be going into the 1400 scale Enterprise D. So on those smaller kits, I like to use these because they maintain the scale with the butter smooth phaser effect. But my test runs with these have come up really nice on the big ships. So we can go with these slightly easier to work with LEDs on the 650 scale. Now Blair, not to not to make extra work or anything like that, but in an Excelsior like that, in that kind of a scale, it is theoretically possible to put lasers inside. Theoretically possible. Just saying. Theoretically possible. Stamp says, wow. Yeah. The trick there is finding them, sourcing them. It's tricky to get the high-powered lasers necessary to do that, and probably not inexpensive either, but it is possible. I mean, if Simon Merckx has taught us anything, it's that you can put lasers in starships. All right. There we go. We'll put that away. Put these away, and we're going to move on to the next thing I need to do tonight. Blair says, I'm going to need a bigger Star Trek theme room. D will still be the praise of the show off. Praise to show off, yeah. Stamp says, is there a 650 scale Enterprise E? Yes, there is. You can get one either from Edward Holt. Is Edward Holt, I think? Give me a moment. I will look that up here. Yeah, Edward Holt was the guy who put out the redo of the Sovereign replicas Enterprise E at 650 scale. Now Marshall Models also has a version of that kit at 650 scale that is fairly readily available to get. So there are a couple of options for getting a 650 scale Enterprise E. I do have one in the shop, although it is an opaque version. If anybody was ever to want the a fully lighted build of the Enterprise E, I would go and order the full translucent version of the kit, because it would just make things so much easier. But yes. And Hagen Miller has just recently finished building one. He was going to bring it to Wonderfest, but then he wasn't able to come. So unfortunately, we did not see that. 350. Oh no, not 350 scale of the Enterprise E. A 350 scale of the Enterprise E would be ridiculously large. That would be tipping over 6 feet long. That would be crazy. Not very many people would be looking for something that large. All right. Okay, moving on to the next thing that needs to happen. So we are looking at this part. Let me go get the pylons. Pylons, because we need those for reference. This piece fits in here. And then I need to find the torpedo launcher. in here. It's in this mess somewhere. These are the grills that go on here. We've got the various phaser array pieces. Here is the torpedo launcher. Just put it there while I pack the rest of this stuff away. I've got to talk to them about getting a replacement of that deflector dish. I thought they were just going to be sending those out to us, but I have not seen that yet. Okay, double checking that I have all those little parts. Lift up the back end of the D here just to check. Okay, now this is going to be tricky to see. But this is the photon torpedo launcher part that is provided, and it does not look like the photon torpedo part on the studio model. So we are going to have Keith from Cosmic Scale Models create for us replacement parts for those. Keith is also printing up the white backed and white printed decals for us, and he's also going to do the custom name registry that's got to go on kit 1 of 2, which is fantastic. But we need to get some measurements here for him. So I am going to pull up on my other screen a reference shot of that section of the Enterprise D. And I feel like I set some aside somewhere. Let me go into Todd's photos, because Todd's got some of the better photos. And let me look at the secondary hull. Pictures. Bear with me while I find one to look at that shows what we want. Okay. All right, Star Drive 9 is what I need. I'm going to throw this into the software and pop her on screen. So there you can see ours does not look like that. We want something that looks like that. Now let me see if I can find a a different picture here that kind of highlights it a bit better as I'm clicking through. Ah, okay. Star Drive 24. Star Drive 24. I'm going to toss it in, preview it, and there you go. So that's what we really want, and the piece that's here doesn't really look like that. It's got some weird ribbing on it and stuff like that, so we're going to try to see if Keith can do better for us. So I need to take measurements of this part, and I probably need to draw it out on paper so that the measurements I'm giving him correspond to their location on the part. Okay, let's bring back the bench. Let me grab my caliper. let's move this a little bit to the side. Oh, we don't want to lose the part. And let me grab a darker matte, although this is white. Yeah, let's see. Here we go. Here's a bit of black board. I mean, the part is so tiny you're not really going to be able to see a whole lot here, but I want to get this done. Let's check in on the chat for a minute. Stamps says, why do they take the time to make the wrong part? Who knows? Who knows, Stamps? And Derek Edlund says, looking good. Thank you. All right. So this has been one of the best purchases I think I've ever made in a small tool. The digital caliper. My pencil was just hiding underneath the saucer. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of draw this part out. So let me grab a small ruler. And we're going to just represent this part on paper as best we can. I am no artist when it comes to drawing. I am just going to try to reproduce what I see. It does not have to be perfect. It just needs to give Keith the appropriate representation of the parts with some location for us to mark the measurements on. I'm going to grab an eraser. Because this line here certainly does not represent. Let's angle that down a bit more. Okay. Connect these up. There we go. How's that for the basic shape? I think that'll just do the job for what we need. And I'll just do a dotted line across here. And we'll take these really small, teeny tiny measurements. .84 millimeters here. I'm going to assume it's symmetrical. Yeah, it's going to be symmetrical. So we're going to measure here. It's the same. 7.84. We're going to go across the back. That's 4.88. I may redraw this to make it look a little bit better. And then I'll take a photograph of it and send to Keith as the measurements. 2.8, 2.08, 2.08. We're getting itty bitty here. 0.87, 0.87, and 1.89, 1.89 this way, and then I need the opening. .16, 3.16 this way, and then the back end here. I know, thrilling content, right? 7.69. Okay, those are all my measurements. Let me see if I can make this look a little bit closer to reality here. This. Pretty sure Wayne went to bed. There we are. Dotted should represent that it's behind. Okay. Does that look better? I'm sure that looks better, right? That's got to look better. Yeah, that must look better. 4.88. 1.89. 7.84, 7.84, 0.87, 2.08, 3.16, and then 7.69. Okay, so does anybody... I'll put this up here so you can see it. Does anybody see anything I have missed? Keep in mind that the part is symmetrical on both sides. Blair says, hope you feel better soon, Andrew. Thank you. I am well on the mend. Well on the mend. But just still suffering from some cough and congestion and that kind of thing. And it spread around our office. Our office administrator had the exact same thing this week, too. Let's see. Trey says, yeah, the aft torpedo housing is one of the worst mistakes. It's just weird. It's just weird that they would get that part so wrong. I don't really get it. But that's what I've got. I'm not missing anything, right? That's everything, right? I'm not missing anything. So I'll send that along to Keith, along with a couple of the photos for reference, and see what he can do. Blair says, we're going to need a proper crate to ship this beauty. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. So the plan there is, let me turn this off and go full face here for a moment. So the plan there is to build a wood crate, essentially. I'm going to build it similar to the way that they built the crate for the 6-foot studio model. So with supports built in for the saucer to be supported on. So braces in there, and probably braces for the nacelles. We'll have to see how that goes, but no, it will not, like a box will not do. And I would highly suggest either it gets delivered or it gets picked up, because that would, in my mind, be the safest way to transport it. Otherwise, you're relying on couriers, you're relying on FedEx or UPS or somebody not to mess it up. So, but we'll jump off that bridge when we get to it. All right, let me throw this stuff aside. I forgot the hole. The opening. Well, if we go back to... Let's just go back to the studio model here. Throw that up. Basically, it's just the opening at the end. There's no additional hole there. So it's just the opening at the end. Yeah. And Trey says UPS could equal oops. Actually, that's what I call them. I call UPS oops. Oops. Yeah, so, I mean, again, it's a bridge we will jump off when we get to it. But I think it would be the safest way to transport it. I mean, I'm going to build this thing as solid as it can possibly be. But I also don't necessarily trust the couriers. So, all right. So it is 10:30. Usually I go till 11 o'clock. I do 2 hours, but given the amount of energy I have coming off of a week sick, and I have to be up early for work in the morning, I am going to cut it there, half an hour early. I do apologize that it is a little bit of a shorter stream tonight, but I need my voice to be okay for tomorrow, and I need my energy levels to be okay for tomorrow, so I do need to bring it to an end just a little bit earlier tonight. So I hope that you will understand. You may fly it out. Well, we can figure that out. We'll also want to know the size of the crate and everything like that, but I will be building the crate for it, and designing it so that it's got all the appropriate support needed to make its way where it needs to go safely, and because it also needs to go to Wonderfest, right? So it will travel in the crate to Wonderfest before going to its permanent home. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me. If you have made it through this far, I really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed the stream, make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to my channel or you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button today. You will make me very happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew, and this has been Canadian Starships Live. Have a great night, everyone.